And I thought kind of watching that game, you kind of saw them just go, all right, enough of this bullshit. We're going to let's be the Lightning. Let's come out and start playing. Let's start. And, we talked a little bit about this last week. We weren't pushing the panic button because, look, this is a great – you still have the best core in hockey. This team's not going anywhere. It just was in this game where every time you're playing the Stanley Cup champions, you're going to get the best of everybody's effort. The Lightning just have not been meeting the effort of the other teams. They just have not been meeting the intensity of the other teams, which you have to do in the regular season on a daily basis and obviously when you get to the postseason. And I think maybe it was Saturdays where they're playing against this Red Wings team, which is a young and talented, precocious little group, but certainly not in the Lightning's class. And they just kind of said, enough of this bullshit. We're gonna win this game. And Stamkos tied it up. Braden Point got the winner in overtime. And then I thought yesterday's game against the Islanders, that was a much more complete effort, start to finish. And I thought they outplayed the Islanders, out-physical the Islanders. You saw them start connecting on passes, the power play. We've had, 3 power play goals now over the weekend. They finished this whole 11 games in 11 cities trip 5-6, which is not horrible. It was looking like, it was going to be way worse than that, but that's not bad. And they're still in the playoffs, obviously. And I think now you got 12 of their next 17 games. You got 17 games left, 12 of them at home. This is setting up really nice for the Lightning to make a nice run. Don't know if they're going to finish first, but probably rather get out of the wild card, get as high a seeding as you can, because I think we're going to see some game 7s in the playoffs. I think we're going to see some game 7s in the playoffs, and you want those to be at your rink. I think home ice is maybe a little bit more, I don't know. The playoffs is a little different, but that 7th game is the one you really want to have.
Yeah, it's a good little 2-game set there. Again, it's not the greatest opponents. I mean, if you watched yesterday, Detroit lost 11-2.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
I don't know what that was.
We broke their spirit.
We broke their spirit or something there. Poor Stevie Y. But even in that game, I didn't think the Lightning were playing that great. The power play still was. I don't think it was that great in that game. But Brian Elliott, when his number has been called,
wow,
I think he's been maybe the best Lightning backup goalies in the last 4 years because it's been a revolving door there. He's been straight up awesome, and that was one of the better games I've seen him play. We're used to Vasilevsky stealing games. He stole that game. Make no mistake. And Braden Point finally getting off the snide. And then yesterday, I thought that was a playoff game for the Lightning. They played it like a playoff game. They got out in front, and they just kind of shut it all down. I wasn't really concerned. Vasilevsky showed up. So great little 2-game set, and to get home finally. They need to get home.
Yeah, and they got a big game on Tuesday night with Carolina coming in here. We'll talk more about that tomorrow, but we're going to kind of look back on this game yesterday with the Islanders. And, down 1-0, even though you're watching the Lightning skate better, I thought they were pretty much, I won't say dominating the game, but I think they were controlling the game in the first, even though they were down 1-0. And then, oddly enough, Victor Hedman, who loves playing afternoon games because his family can all gather around the TV, and it's not 4 o'clock in the morning over there in Sweden. They can watch him, so I guess he gets a little extra go in his step, and he comes up with the first goal on the power play.
Hitting goalies up high like that, and then shooting it low along the ice the next shot.
Never felt bad, but I didn't shoot up high. I was trying to score all the time.
Here's Hedman. He scores.
That's from our folks at TNT. Not our usual nice explanation for Brian Engblom on the goal.
It's a very strict cutoff with the TNT feed here.
So. Yeah, they just there's not much to it, but we'll play them anyway. So that made it 1-1, and they come back and get another one, and Sergachev with a nice play on this one, assisting to Ross Colton, who gets the Lightning the lead at 2-1.
Oh, this is the Killorn one first, I believe.
Okay, we'll do the Killorn one first.
That made it 2-1.
That's right, my bad. Killorn made it 2-1.
Pull-up. Pass between Pellick and Beauvillier and taken by Cirelli. Poked ahead. Cirelli with Killorn going to the goal. Cirelli backhand. They score!
They get some good sound there, though. You hear the puck hitting the post. I love that. That made it 2-1. And then here's the Colton goal that kind of salted the game away against the Islanders. And finally, getting some more scoring.
Shot tipped down by Belmar. What a stop that was by Varlamov. The puck is still there. Now pushed out to the line. Couple of chances. Colton scores.
I tell you what, it's been a while since the Lightning have scored 4 goals and have consistently been scoring around 2 goals a game, and that's just not going to get it done in this league. But again, I thought the effort was there, and that's simply what it is in this game for the Lightning. When they care, when they flip the switch, when they're ready to play, it's a totally different team. That's why I wasn't too worried about this stretch. As we say, that's the doldrums of the year of the hockey season. Nobody has played more games than the Tampa Bay Lightning over the last 2 calendar years. It's been a grind. I think they were due for a spell like that. I mean, the fact that they hadn't had a spell like that early in the season or middle of the season is honestly shocking to me, that they've been so good most of the year because they played so much hockey. And that's just because they're so talented. And I think you got to the point where I think they just got a little bored, maybe. And I think that long layoff in February just kind of messed up their timing. And see, when they play back-to-back games, look how much better they were in the second game. And they've been great with their back-to-back games this year. I think they're they still undefeated in their second half of their back-to-backs.
I believe so. Yeah, that stat that Pat Maroon doesn't buy at all. Remember?
Yeah, right.
But
exactly.
It's a real thing for the Lightning this year. And in 2 games during the day, I think I mentioned on Friday, I saw back-to-back games during the day. The Lightning seemed to kind of struggle with those, and they showed up for them. And you mentioned it right there, winning goal differential battle. 6-2 in these 2 games? That's the Lightning hockey that we're used to, and it's what they're going to have to play because, like we've mentioned, the Eastern Conference is absolutely loaded, and you're going to get Carolina, maybe the best, coming in on Tuesday night.
Great Lou Maggio right over my shoulder here. Hey, Booker of the Stars right here. Clint Hurdle. Bring him on over. Or you can wait a few minutes. That's fine too. We'll play a little whatever.
It's an honor just to be staying over your shoulder.
Absolutely. Look at it. We're producing on the air here. The great Lou Maggio.
Normally, JP's an angel on my shoulder, but that's normally in a lounge or something like that. But not truly. Just a coffee lounge, of course.
Of course, coffee lounge. Yeah, that's what he was talking about. Lou has spent more time at the Playboy Mansion back when it was the Playboy Mansion than we just need to do an hour with Lou. To be quite honest, we're gonna have to set that. That's gonna be a good summertime show. An hour with Lou, and we'll get some of the Playboy Playmates on as well. Well, wouldn't that be fun? That'd be fun. Some of those stories going. When Casey goes to Costa Rica, we'll do that. All right, so let's hear from John Cooper as we await Clint Hurdle coming over here. So let's hear from John Cooper post game.
Victor said he thought after these last 2 games that maybe your group's game is kind of rounding back into where it should be. Do you feel that way?
Hard to say. I think, to be honest, things turned for us when it was 0-0 game last night. We go down with 1-0, 13 minutes to go, and for whatever reason, urgency jumped back into our game. We fought our way back into it, won in overtime, and I think a little bit of that momentum carried into today. I loved our start. We could have been up, but a couple early, we weren't, and then we fall behind. But again, the guys dug in, and so I just, when things aren't going as well as you think they can, and confidence becomes an issue, that's when you have to strap the boots and go back to work. And they did that, and but nobody was hanging their heads. I think that was a big thing for us, and the result for us fans tonight.
Is it more of a matter when you go through the kind of stretch that you're going through that they're not maybe doing as much skill-wise, maybe doing more detail-wise?
Part of that. You tell the guys all the time, bring 2 things to the rink: your work ethic and your preparation, and everything has to take care of it itself. And they, when I think it was big, our special teams was kicked in a bit. We kind of get a little momentum off that, and the PK's been outstanding. With a couple new guys we brought in here have really helped, and you can build off that. And again, play a little defense like we have last couple games here, and good things will happen for you.
So the does a lot for you. More minutes coming out. Some of these goals are about scoring. Where would you guys be with that?
Well, those are victim at the same time. Norris Trophy winning defenseman. So I think any team would like to have the luxury we have of having him back there. But when some of your go-to guys, Mac's go-to guy for us, that's why you have depth. And Footer's come in, and I thought he was outstanding today. you look on the back end, all the other guys played well. Sergey was a beast, but Footer was really, really good. So you have a little depth back there, and you don't want to see guys get hurt. But if they do need guys that step up, and Footer did that today.
This was a game where you guys played with a lot of emotion. There was a lot of emotion in the game. Do you think that benefited your group?
I don't know. So we have a little history with them last couple of years. So that's always going to be there. We know each other extremely well. I think each coach could walk into each other's locker room and give the speech because we know each other so well. So there is going to be emotion. We a couple tough guys on each team, and so you pretty much expect that. But in the end, you got to buckle down and win the hockey game. And that's what we did.
There's John Cooper. This is a team they have some history with, and I think that added to it as well. It kind of led to a little bit of playoff atmosphere, and that I think when the Lightning get their juices going and they're starting to match the intensity of their team, they're a very difficult team to beat. So it was good to see them back to, as Dave Mishkin said in the broadcast, looking like the Lightning again. And we listen. We turned on the TV for the past 3 weeks. You see a team out there that just looks slow, lethargic, uninterested. It's going to happen. Even this is a long season, and they've got a long playoff season ahead of them, and they know exactly what is up in front of them. And it's frankly, it's good to take some downtime. You get recharged, and now they're ready to go. So
yeah, and I'll make the quick point too. With McDonough out, by the way, first 2 games, I thought they passed the test. Sergachev, I think it was asked there. I think Sergachev had one of his games of the year yesterday. He was a beast.
Yeah.
He's going to have to be much better with McDonough out and Calfoot as well. Now that the trade deadline's over, he can kind of breathe easy. He's still going to be here for this run, and he's going to be an important piece as well. So I will say the back end there was really, really well the last 2 games.
Yeah, it was. We didn't mention Calfoot, and I thought, as Coop said, he played his best game. And as you say, they're gonna need him, and this is where your depth comes in. And looking at Hagel and Nick Paul in their first week here, I don't think you can ask much more. They've gotten on the score sheet. I think obviously the PK now is 13 for its last 13. So they've picked that up, and it didn't take him long to kind of get the feel of what the other guys do. So I'm encouraged, and I think this is going to be a chance for the Lightning to make another deep run. I kind of want them to stay away from Florida in the first round. I think that's going to be key. Just so they can kind of get their footing in the playoffs. And I think it would be a shame, honestly, if they played that team in the first round again, because I think they were the 2 best teams last year, quite frankly. And that was probably the Stanley Cup final when they played. And I think if Florida wins that series, they probably go on to win the Cup. I don't think that's hyperbole at all. So, and now this is just probably a better Florida team than they had last year. So I look forward to meeting them in the playoffs, but maybe not the first game. All right, as we await Clint Hurdle sitting down with us, shall we go into the biggest story of the day?
I think we have to. And
let's break it down.
Sports.
I think we break this down like it is a sporting event. So let's a little background, a little pregame. So Chris, and I don't know, does Chris Rock and Will Smith have any history of bad blood or anything? Or is he one of the guys that may have tapped in, so to speak?
Let's put it like, we're not plugged in by any means to what's going on in Hollywood. We're not. I'm hearing all these rumors of this apparent beef in the last few years between Will Smith and Chris Rock.
Oh.
To me, it sounds a little petty. Chris Rock, he's going to make jokes when he wants to make jokes, okay?
Yeah. Yes,
that's from what I gather from it. So
he's a comedian. It's what he does.
He's a comedian. Yeah. He's a comedian. Yeah. But in 2022, I don't know what a comedian is, okay?
Yeah.
I don't know.
True.
I don't know. And that's part of what goes into this as we get further into it. But that was the background apparently with there. And then, of course, the joke that set him off or his wife off because she had the medical condition where her hair, that's why she has the hair loss. And he made we'll listen to it, obviously. I don't know if
it's not cancer. It's what's it called?
It's so hard to pronounce. It's like,
once again, something that's not in our arena at all.
It's not. It's really not.
But it's not a life-threatening disease is what I'm saying. So it's not like he made a joke about a life-threatening disease. So anyway, let's So let's play the audio, and the visual, if you haven't seen it, is Will was kind of sitting up front with his wife Jada, sitting right there. And what's interesting is at the original, when he first said the joke, Will started laughing, and then it was a 2-shot of him and his wife. And while he's laughing hysterically at Chris Rock, you look over at Jada, she ain't laughing. And he kind of turns to her and sees that she's not laughing. And then suddenly it's not funny anymore, because now we do have to say this. There are a lot of rumors going around that Jada has not been the most faithful. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
I'm leaning on you for my e-news here.
I'm not the best one for you, but that's from what I'm gathering. I believe so.
That's a lot of on the Twitter machine that, he seemed a lot more mad about the joke than somebody else.
You're the one who goes to
his wife.
You're the one that goes to the Publix aisle and looks at, Entertainment Weekly and all these magazines, right? I mean, you should
hasn't come out yet.
You should know more than me.
True. That's absolutely true. All right, so let's play the audio from last night. Live at the Oscars, Will Smith slapping the shit out of Chris Rock.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right?
He's laughing.
That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Uh-oh, Richard.
Here comes King Richard.
Oh, wow.
Slaps him.
Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
It was a G.I. Jane joke.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
I'm going
Damn.
Okay.
He should have.
Greatest night in the history of television. Okay.
So he said, I could have, and he was thinking about going there.
He wanted to.
Wonder what he was thinking about saying. That would have.
Yeah.
See, if he says that, if he makes cracks a joke about her sleeping around, then it's on.
While we were
and
watching
I think we
the
have
video
a brawl
there,
on stage.
while we were watching the video there, I did a quick research, and there is, at least on the Wikipedia page, there is a whole section of her personal life titled affairs. So there you go. There's a whole section. A whole section, yes. Not just one, multiple affairs.
Wow.
So there you go. And it's what is it? Just had it here. Oh, alopecia is the name of the condition of her hair loss.
Okay. Good for you. Nice effort there. Just unbelievable. It just happened. And I see Stephen A. Smith jumping on Twitter like, this is ridiculous. This is horrible behavior. This is not a good look. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, are you kidding me? He's going to get canonized for this. He's going to get celebrated in this culture that we're in for this. And I think the reaction has been kind of 50-50. I mean, the funny part was like, people were like, oh, I can't believe he didn't get arrested for assault. Are you kidding me? They're in Los Angeles. They don't arrest anybody for anything in Los Angeles. You could commit murder on right on the stage, and the DA there be like, I don't know. Let's let him walk. That's not happening.
Some people have these like super like serious. So this like broke Twitter yesterday. Like broke Twitter. There was no tweet you could find from anybody on any topic or Will Smith Chris Rock. And I'm reading it. Please, if you had a serious reaction, that was what was like making me like die last night. These people that had this serious reaction, like it's not funny to make fun of assault, no matter what kind of it is. I'm like, are you kidding me? First of all, there you go. The soul, where we are at in the world, we love to see people get the shit beat out of them. Do we not?
Yeah.
We just love to see it.
And if it's Hollywood on Hollywood crime, bring it on. Bring it on.
It was awesome. I've never watched the Oscars in my life. I couldn't turn it off after I saw that. I couldn't turn it off. I had to see. I was like, please win male actor. Please win best male actor so we could see the speech. The whole 9 yards. Like the ratings are going to be through the roof. So save it with your serious, it's assault. I'm not going to make fun of assault. Please save it. Save it. It was a great Great moment. I still don't know why it happened. I don't know. See, I don't know what the line is in comedy anymore. That's part of the conversation. I don't know what the line is. It feels like Chris Rock probably went over the line, but then again, Will Smith was laughing at the joke.
In essence, it was you decided to shave your head, and obviously Chris didn't know about the medical condition, and he said,
"I to think he did it."
Yeah. So come on. And this one from Kathy Griffin said, "Let me tell you something. It's a very bad practice to walk up on stage and physically assault a comedian. Now we all have to worry about who wants to be the next Will Smith in comedy clubs and theaters." Yeah, I don't think that's the case.
No.
Clint's here. Good. Hey, let's take a quick break. Clint Hurdle's going to sit down with us, and we'll talk some baseball with the great Clint Hurdle, National League Manager of the Year. So, quick break here on the JP Peterson Show. We're coming to you live from the Peter J. Mulry Foundation Golf Classic out here at Carrollwood. We'll be back with Clint Hurdle. Stay with us. Quick break. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new, healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care, and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. March Madness has come to the Gold and Diamond Source. Did you know the Aquamarine is the birthstone of the month, and the Emily collection has some great unique pieces. It's designed to be affordable, unique, stylish gold and diamond jewelry. The Juliet collection is Julie and Steve Weintraub's exclusive, one-of-a-kind, award-winning collection of the world's finest diamonds and rare fine gemstone jewelry. Don't forget, they have 0% financing and the Diamond Savings Account, where your diamond never loses its value. You can upgrade it anytime and get 100% of its value towards a new purchase. If you have any old jewelry, broken jewelry, just lying around, well, bring it in and get top dollar and get even more value if you use that money to buy something new or just take the cash. Shop local with the folks who support our community in so many charitable endeavors. It's the Golden Diamond Source, just a short 15-minute ride from Tampa, just over the bridge on Ulmerton Road. Always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Have you purchased a home in the last 10 years and the stucco is starting to come loose from the upstairs portion? Well, that can cause some serious damage that you can't see until it's too late. Is it becoming an eyesore? Have you contacted the builder and just can't get any relief? That's very common here in Florida. So call the law offices of Christopher Palermo. They can help you. Call 813-221-5636. That's 813-221-5636. He's recovered millions for his clients. The law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on Fan Stream Sports. Just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. The great Clint Hurdle joining us here, longtime player and manager, was the NL Manager of the Year with the Pirates in 2013, also took the Rockies to the National League pennant in 2007. Now living the lovely Florida life in down in Anna Maria Island and working for the Colorado Rockies. Clint, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
You look retired. You got the nice flowered shirt on, the palm trees. You're living in Anna Maria Island.
You know, I grew up on the East Coast, JP. I grew up in a little place called Merritt Island, which is next to Cocoa Beach. So I've been wearing flip-flops, shorts, T-shirts for a long time. Now it's just a little better shirt, a little better short, and tennis shoes instead of flip-flops.
I grew up in South Florida, in Fort Lauderdale area, and growing up, you were one of those that guy that plays for Merritt Island. He plays baseball. He's the next phenom, and you were big news for us kids growing up in South Florida. You were one of those guys everybody wanted to be.
I hear more of that. I heard more of that once I got into pro ball, and there was some there was some separation from high school, because there was kids like that when I was playing that were, Waldo Williams was a guy that I played with actually. He went to Florida State. Jimmy Black, football player, went to Florida State. Mark Struker was a baseball player, went to the pros with the Astros, but I probably was on that first or second wave of guys to blow out. Collinsworth was going to school the same time I was, but up at Titusville Astronaut. He did pretty good for himself. He's still on TV.
I didn't know this, but you had a scholarship at the University of Miami to play quarterback?
I was going to Miami to play quarterback in football and to play for Ron Frazier on the baseball team. There was only 2 schools. I traveled. I think back in the day they said you could have, one official visit to, I don't know how many. I took about 10 trips. But Virginia and Miami were the only 2 schools that were going to let me play football and baseball. And I was steadfast on playing baseball. So a lot of the schools just wanted me to play football. And when I said I wanted to play both, they just said, no, it's football scholarship or nothing. So I said, well, thank you. I'm going to move on. Interestingly enough, the place I was most intrigued by after Miami and Virginia was Harvard. I had an academic scholarship to Harvard, and they didn't give athletic scholarships. So that would have been really cool to travel in that lane to see how that things have ended up wonderful. I'm a blessed
I think
man.
you made the right choice.
I'm a blessed man, but it always kind of go back. I wonder what that would have been like to go to Harvard, to go to school at Harvard and play Ivy League sports. That would have been pretty unique.
Probably would have taken you down a different path in life, I imagine. I don't know if it's good or bad, but it would have been a much different one.
Different is the operative term. Yeah, way different.
I think you made the right choice. So tell me a little bit about what you're doing now with the Rockies, and so much in baseball has changed just in the last year with this new CBA. Take us inside the boardrooms of these baseball teams. What are you guys talking about?
Well, first and foremost, I'm glad we're out of the boardroom and we're on the ball field again. I've been away for 2 years. I retired in the middle of November. Just decided that I didn't want to go back for the travel. My kids were teenagers in high school at the time. My wife has made every adjustment a wife can make along the way to facilitate my schedule. A lot of time involved in being a major league manager, and I did it for 17 years away from family. So when I decided to retire, I put the uniform in the closet. I signed a lifetime contract with the whole team, the home team, my family. Little did I know, the middle of March, the whole world would shut down. And so I went from being home every day to being at home every day with everybody. But for us, it was a really good melting pot for us. It was much needed. It worked out well. I was actually able to school. I was a teacher for my kids in the virtual schooling. A few subjects with my son, but mostly with my daughter. We have a special needs daughter, Madison, who's 19. I was like 4 or 5 classes a day with Maddie for all that time. So it got me in a whole different lane, which was good. However, baseball people would seem to get more calls from baseball people once I wasn't connected to one team, like the Pirates. They just want thoughts. Hey, I'm thinking this. What do you think? What's your opinion on this? Have you ever done this? Did you try that? So I ended up interjecting with 5 or 6 different clubs, managers, general managers. So my finger was really never off the pulse of the game. Our game has traveled a lot of different directions. Some of it, I think, for the better, some of it not for the better. And I think we're trying to find a way to correct and to stabilize. We need to focus on what's most important. That's making the game better for the fan, in my opinion. And this is the door I continue to knock on and the drum I continue to beat. All the other sports, NBA, NHL, NFL, have made adjustments over the year to keep the game fan friendly, to keep the fans' interest peaked. You didn't hear much about making the game better in these negotiations of the CBA. So hopefully those are underlying currents that are going on right now. I think a shot clock's important. A pitch clock's important. I was a big fan of the 7-inning doubleheaders. Now we're going back to 9.
I was too.
And so, again, nobody asked me my vote. We need to find more action. We need to, whatever can give more action into the game. The 3 absolutes, the walk, the strikeout, the home run, it's boring. I'm sorry. I have trouble watching a 4-hour game. And I can't even imagine fans that pay money, big money, to go do it. And we are putting ourselves in a very precarious position, I believe, into losing a generation of fans if we don't find a way to galvanize this thing back. So I think they're taking a more serious note to try and make the game better now that they got the CBA figured out. I think the owners made some concessions. I think the players made some concessions. But, my gosh, it took too long again. So we're up and we're running. Hopefully good things are in front for everybody.
I'm very curious about this, to pick your brain about this. Let's get specific about things that you said, the pitch clock for sure. I guess the shifting is no more, right? So I don't know how they're going to legislate that. Maybe you could talk a little bit to that. What do you think? What things would you bring into the game to make it better?
Well, number one, the shifting is still going to be in play at the AAA level, the major league level, but they're sanitizing the shifting all the way down from AA and all the lower levels, where it's got to be 4 infielders on the dirt, 2 on each side of the infield. Now, you could strategically place your shortstop, if a left-hand hitter, 1 step right of second base, which that's a shift. And you can move the third baseman. It's still a shift, but there's 2 men on each side of the infield designated by second base. I think that's healthy. I think it's going to give us the solution we want. I'm still disappointed hitters can't make adjustments to make people stop. But that's what we've fallen into, because we've paid people for OPS, and OPS is in the air. And OPS isn't that carved single to left field with 2 strikes and a 2-strike approach or whatever. So I do think we've learned some lessons the hard way, and I do think we're going to figure some things out better. I know much more emphasis in Rockies camp was talked about and put into play on beating the shift. Flat out beating the shift with your big league players, hitting the ball the other way, putting down bunts, being strategic with it. You can't.
Why is that? Why have we not seen that? I mean, we got a guy here today, Wade Boggs, who may not even be able to play in the major leagues right now.
There were so many players that wouldn't get drafted. Right. That wouldn't get drafted. I mean, I got a good buddy that lives over in Orlando. Remember David Eckstein? Yes, of course. World Series MVP. Great player. Couldn't make a club right now. Couldn't make a 25-man club. A really good chance he wouldn't be on a baseball team.
And those are the players the fans love.
They are what I call the cohesive cartilage of the game. Yes. And by also the other thing I'm really struggling with is the reduction of minor league teams. We've penalized minor league cities that all the people wanted to do was show up and watch minor league baseball. We took 42 of them off the board. We said we're making it better. I don't think we're making it better. What we've done is really,
because the big league clubs aren't making enough money.
No, that's not true. I mean, you looked at the latest Forbes things. I mean, they're almost all over $1 billion. So here's what we've done, though, by taking those 42 teams away. Do you know how many guys play minor league baseball that don't get to the big leagues? It's like 90%. But do you know what they do? They go coach in small colleges. They go coach amateur ball. They go out and become minor league coaches. They go out and become scouts. They're still the lifeblood of the game, the guts and the cartilage of the game. Schools like St. Leo, schools like Tampa University, all these other schools down in Florida, minor league coaches they're the blood, the lifeline of what's going on. And we're just taking those people off and not giving them opportunities to work. So I don't think that's helping. The ghost runner, again, I think it's going to shorten the games and get games over quicker. It's still, I'm okay with that, but it's still sad we can't figure out how to get more men on base.
Right. Yeah.
We want to score more runs, but everybody talks about the homer. You got to get men on base before you hit a homer.
So is this now gone to scouting? So we're not putting guys in the pipeline that are Rod Carews, the Pete Roses, the Suzuki's, the guys that can hit the ball the other way and hit for average. We're not even looking for those guys.
I think we are. I think it's individually targeted. Each organization may have a different blueprint on how they want to run it. I do know they're still hunting ball players because what they've realized in the past, this basically started about the 3 years before I retired. Maddie, my daughter, would tell you, "No, Dad, you got fired, then you retired." So we'll clear that up in case she hears this somewhere. The last 3 years that I was managing, you saw the landscape start to change dramatically. What we were paying them for, they were trying to do. Plus, you get them to come to spring training, that many of them had 2 or 3 hitting gurus or pitching gurus they've worked with over the winter on spin rates. They're hunting spin. They're chasing distance. So these swings are not conducive for contact. The pitching, it's hard for me to even say that we're pitching anymore. We're throwing rocks more than we are pitching. It's velocity and tremendous spin. It's home runs. It's the OPS, the ball in the air. So we've also found there's a lot of holes in that, and the games are taking longer. So men, I think historically, when we've made mistakes, we've overcorrected. I think we overcorrected dramatically in the game of baseball. And the analytics were at the front of that. Some really good ideas, but then it got traction, and then it became a thing, and then it became, oh, my God, we got to keep up with the Joneses. this place right over here, this baseball laboratory in Tampa with the Rays.
So you blame the Rays for all this?
I don't blame them. They win. They find different ways to recreate themselves. They're doing some things well, and they got some ball players over there too. So they're probably the model I would follow. And look at their payroll.
Well, that's what the owners are looking at, right? They're like, how's this guy beating us with $70 million payroll? How come my general manager can't get me that?
They got really smart people. Hello, Wade. Nice to see you, sir. It's a pleasure. Nice to see you.
Wade Boggs stopping by. You come back, chat with us a little bit? All right. Great, Wade Boggs. We were just we were just talking about Wade. Like,
what a classic. Yeah. No,
would he be a player in this game today?
Well, you know what? I think Wade even proved it to everybody over time. If he needed a home run, Wade could hit a home run. That's true. But Wade could get a big hit off the toughest pitcher in the league with his best pitch that was thrown. So, he had a unique combination of things. And I think at that time, he hit to get paid, or actually to play the game the way he learned how to play the game, and he happened to get paid for it. What we've got now is we're teaching hitters distance and power first, when that was always the two components that came last. How to pull a ball well and how to hit for power. We just got – the game has turned into an HOV lane, right? And that's – and you know what it's like to drive in an HOV lane. It's maddening.
It's crazy. I love it, but it's crazy. But it's way more exciting than baseball, to be quite honest with you. Clint Hurdle joining us here. We mentioned you're with the Pirates and got their first winning season, I think, since '92. That's another low payroll franchise you did it with. And you also managed a couple of Rays that we have right now in Austin Meadows and Tyler Glasnow. And that Shane Baz kind of came later. Tell me a little bit about those guys and that trade.
Well, as an organization, when you make a trade, there's a lot of conversations that happen in those rooms. Once a decision's made, you lock arms and you go out. Whatever happens, happens. A trade didn't work out as well for the Pirates as it did for the Rays. You got some tremendous production out of Meadows. You got a couple big seasons out of Glasnow. Hopefully he's going to be able to bounce back. Both two wonderful young men. And we knew we were letting go of two really good young men that had a chance to become really good big league players. We gave Glasnow an opportunity to pitch, and maybe we didn't help him get to where he needed to get. Sometimes players get to where they need to get on their own later on, and a change of scenery can help. Or maybe it's something somebody else says, or they say the same thing in a different way. A lot of different reasons. But I give the kids the credit for staying, for persevering, for being resilient, for going to Tampa, finding their way, making an impact, helping that club get in the playoffs 2 different years that they've been there. Baz is a terrific young talent. Hopefully he's going to be okay after the surgery. We got Archer, and initially he gave us a big shot in the arm, but then he got hurt. He wasn't able to stay healthy. So when you make them, they all look good. When later on, they don't play out as well as you'd hope.
I got to ask you about the 07 Rockies that you managed to the NL pennant. That was one of the most spectacular teams of all time. I mean, if I recall correctly, Bichette, Larry Walker, was Vinny Castillo on that team?
Those were the Bombers, JP. They were actually before then. The Bombers, when I became the hitting coach in '97, we had Ellis Burks in center, Larry in right, Dante in left. We had the big cat, Galarraga at first, and Vinny at third. So I had them. Tough job for hitting coach, working with 5 of those guys. Later on, though, we actually had kind of developed our own group of young men that came up, led by Todd Helton. But we had Hop and Wright. We had Matt Holliday, who had an MVP season but didn't get it in '07. We had Tulowitzki, a rookie at short. Ubaldo Jimenez. We had a young team. 19 of the 25 men on our World Series roster that year were homegrown, drafted and developed with the organization. That was the next generation that came up, and they kind of all popped together, led by Todd. And we won 13 of the last 14 regular season games to force a 1-game play-in against the Padres. We won that in dramatic fashion with a walk-off. Holiday slide it home. Remember the blood on his chin?
Yes.
Still say he didn't touch it. He did touch it. He didn't touch it. And then we swept through the playoffs where we swept the Phillies 3 out of 5, and then we swept the Diamondbacks 4 in a row. Then we had an 8-day layoff going to the World Series. That really hurt our adrenaline, our tracking, but we played a fantastically good baseball team in the Red Sox. 07 led by Francona. They wiped us out. But what a season for Rockies baseball fans. What a finish. We won 21 out of 22 games to get into the World Series.
I
Gail's here.
Okay, cool. Gail Stearns is here as well. So yeah, last question for you, Clint. Where baseball is right now, what a great time that was in Colorado. And I actually have a place out there, spent a lot of time out there, went to Coors Field. And what Coors Field has done for lower downtown, we're hoping this new stadium does. If we can get it on the board, I think it's going to happen here in Ybor City. I think it changes everything for the Rays in terms of their attendance and everything. Put it in the middle of the market where it should have been in the beginning. State-of-the-art stadium. It changes everything. Would you agree?
Absolutely, 100%. I'm 100% on board with it. I was driving my brother-in-law past the Trop today, and I said the only thing it misses is the elephant stuff over there.
It's awful. It's horrible.
It's post-dated. I mean, when Esposito
about 20 years
hockey plan down here, people looked at him with a side eye. The hockey thing's worked out pretty well, by the way.
It's a good location and a good arena.
They do draw well. The Bucks and the Lightning do draw well. If you get the baseball team over there, it'd be a dream come true, and it would help them out in so many different ways. Absolutely.
Clint, a joy to speak with you, my friend. Thank you so much for your time. Go enjoy the golf today, and we'll have some fun. Raise some money for a good cause and Peter's Foundation as well.
Peter's one of the nicest human beings you'll ever meet. Peter Mulry, fantastic.
Thank you so much. Have fun. Great, Clint Hurdle there. That was fun, and I think I learned a hell of a lot about baseball. I didn't know. And why don't you just make him the commissioner? Let's see, make a guy like that the commissioner, a guy that could have gone to Harvard, has done it all in the game of baseball, seen it all. That's the type of people we need running this game, not freaking politicians or lawyers and those people. We need baseball people running this game like that. But that'll never happen. The owners will never have another autonomous commissioner who does what's best for the game. It's always going to be a puppet of the owners to just make more money, which is basically, as he said, it's not good for the game. It's not good for the game.
I was going to tell you, it's one of my favorite interviews you've done recently. One of my favorites. I really enjoyed that. I love my baseball. I love to hear the baseball minds talk about it because, you go on Twitter and everybody thinks they have the solution to fix baseball. I like to hear somebody who's in the game, has been in the game, talk about it. And I thought everything he said was basically spot on.
Yeah, so he's been in baseball his life, but I wouldn't describe him as a traditionalist.
No,
I mean,
he's a perfect balance of it.
Yeah.
He had a perfect balance of it. Like even trying to speed up the game and do some of these things, you wouldn't expect somebody that's been in the game that long to have that take, but he did. But at the same time, what did he say? We need to teach contact before power. That was the
exactly
he said. And I think that is spot on.
Yeah. And if we get Wade over here, and I know Wade, he was going to go out and hit balls. He wants to make sure his game is tuned up. So hopefully we'll grab him here in a little bit, but he'll tell you the same thing. I mean, it's just, and I think what Clint said is true. If you needed a home run, he could do that for you. He'd pull one down the line when you needed a home run. And that's the essence of being a great hitter. These guys that, have swing planes that are 45-degree angles. I mean, just do the math. You mean it's most of the time you're going to swing through it. Sometimes you're going to hit it and it'll go a long way, but most of the time you're going to miss it. And that's not fun.
Yeah.
It's not fun watching baseball.
And when you said those are the fan favorites, I think I gravitated to Joey Wendell because I saw that same exact guy. That's why I love Joey Wendell. And I was like, it just feels like he's working harder to stay in this game because he has to.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing he said about David Eckstein. If you remember, David Eckstein choked up like halfway up.
Yeah.
He did everything he had to do to stay in him. And if it was coming to 2022, as Hurdle said, he would be nowhere. And it's unfortunate.
And people, they look at, these incredible athletes like Soto and all these humongous, 6'5" shortstops now and guys that can hit the ball 500 feet. And that's great for the game. But, the beauty of the game to me has always been having a team, where you have a guy at the top of the lineup that, has a 400 on base percentage and can steal bags. The guy in the 2-hole that can go the opposite way and a good contact hitter. Guy in the 3-hole that's good at everything. Great power. Guy in the 4-hole that's your power guy. And this, you construct a lineup of good hitters. And now it's just bash, 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 bash. Yeah. And it's not good for the game. And they got to change it or the game's going to die.
Yeah, and I was going to say, but of those young guys that you mentioned, the Sotos, the Vlad Guerreros, the Acuñas, they're still hitting to all sides of the field. Those guys are. Soto made 400 one time in his career. So it shows you Mike Trout, for crying out loud, the best of the best still hit that way. They still do.
Yep. Well, we need more of it. We need more David Ecksteins in the game. And unfortunately, the game is not producing them because they're not scouting them. They're not elevating them up through the ranks. They're just not a priority. They want power guys, and they get to the league, and you don't have enough guys to get on base. So it's a flaw in the system right now, and they got to correct it. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We got a lot of stars running around here. We'll go gather some more interviews. We're also got some more. We're going to talk some Buccaneers as well. We've got we got some good Kyrie sound that I wanted to get to. The U.S. men's national team last night put it on Panama. Christian Pulisic with a hat trick. We'll talk a little bit about that. Much more coming your way. We're live here from the Peter J. Mulry Foundation Golf Classic at Carrollwood Golf Course. Back in a moment. Stay with us. March Madness has come to the Gold and Diamond Source. Did you know the Aquamarine is the birthstone of the month, and the Emily collection has some great unique pieces. It's designed to be affordable, unique, stylish gold and diamond jewelry. The Julieve collection is Julie and Steve Weintraub's exclusive, one-of-a-kind, award-winning collection of the world's finest diamonds and rare fine gemstone jewelry. Don't forget, they have 0% financing and the Diamond Savings Account, where your diamond never loses its value. You can upgrade it anytime and get 100% of its value towards a new purchase. Do you have any old jewelry, broken jewelry, just lying around? Well, bring it in and get top dollar and get even more value if you use that money to buy something new or just take the cash. Shop local with the folks who support our community in so many charitable endeavors. It's the Golden Diamond Source, just a short 15-minute ride from Tampa, just over the bridge on Ulmerton Road. Always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new, healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care, and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. The world economy is you can chaos. double this up, Nick, if you want. Go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. You will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, sorry, we're back here with great Gail Sirians here, my former co-anchor at News Channel 8, just kind of talking about stuff. We're here at the Peter J. Mulry Foundation Golf Classic. I'm just going to say a few years at News Channel 8. We don't have to give the real number. Right?
I think it was 38-ish or somewhere in that. Yeah, maybe. Because I got there as basically, I think I was still in the 6th grade when I started then. It is what it is, right?
Well, I can honestly say I worked in News Channel 8 for 10 years, and it was the best 10 years of my career. And you were a big part of that. Yeah.
Nice thing to say.
Well, and so many of our listeners are Chris Thomas fans, but may he rest in peace. One of the greatest men of all time. We can do some nice little reminiscing right now, which we will do. But when Chris was let go and I was promoted into his spot, I mean, you never want to follow a legend. And I'm sitting up there on the desk with three legends and you and Bob and Steve, and you guys could not have been more accommodating to me and welcoming to me. And it was so kind of you and wonderful. But that's just who you are.
Well, I was just going to say, hopefully that's my experience with most people. And, just because I think I just grew up with the sweetest mama in the world who was just always, be kind, use kind words, la, 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 la. And, it worked out pretty well because I'm the most anti get in your face person you'll ever know. And, it's just, at my stage of life, at this age, it's not worth all of that anyway, is it? Getting wrapped around the axle about things that don't at the end of the day really matter, and then how you embarrass yourself trying to make do and recover from it all. But we don't do that anymore, do we?
Well, Chris and I were cut from a different cloth.
Whoa. And that cloth could get really dirty sometimes. Let me just
I think it's kind of endemic to sports radio a little bit. But we could I mean, some of my stories of Chris, the first time I ever met Chris was back in the old building at his Channel 8. And we had a lot of, weren't just people working there. There were a lot of rats working there as well.
Yes, they had many families of rats were working there. At the time.
My first night in the News Channel 8 office, I was just sitting there, and I'd just been hired and not even officially introduced to Chris. And I was working with Dave Cook, the producer, and Dave left. So he said, just wait around. Chris will be back, and you guys can, you help him put the 11 o'clock together. So he comes in at about, 9:30, handy market cup in his.
We know what his bedtime beverage was.
Doesn't even look at me and just sits down and starts hitting at the computer. I'm like, all right, well, I'll let him do his thing. So about that time, a rat runs across the office. My first introduction to the rat, and I'm like, what the fuck was that?
Well, that was that beautiful old building, and then we got the Taj Mahal, though, and it's beautiful where it is now. But yes, it was awful. I mean, I go back even further, way further than you in terms of that, that place, that blob of cement and rats, But, it didn't seem to ever matter all that much.
No, it didn't.
That's
matter
the
at
thing,
all.
as crazy as that sounds, we were such a little family there, in every newsroom. I think that's what happens. We're all doing different kind of jobs in different kind of places, and we just count on the people who are around us all the time to keep the good stuff coming, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so, to finish that story, not only did the rat run, but then, of course, Chris doesn't even flinch. And then the next thing I hear from him was just this amazing baritone flatulence coming out of him. Doesn't even skip a beat as he's writing his scripts. And I'm like, what the hell have I signed up for here? Rats, and this guy's just blowing them all over. He didn't give a rat's ass either.
No, he really didn't. And that's, I think, that was his charm. He really didn't care at the end of the day if you liked him or not. Just he was going to tell you what he thought and the honest truth, words that he had.
You guys would go at it a little bit in the break before sport.
Yeah, sometimes we would. Absolutely. Well, just because you have to call them on stuff every now and then and vice versa. So, it happened, but just go back to those days and Bob Height, with the big deep voice and
And you two in the break before sports. I'm like, you guys mind? I got a sports catch to do.
We're fighting or just,
F-bombs going back and forth.
Yeah. First of all, we tried forever to get Bob to understand sports other than boating.
Hopeless.
And it was hopeless. And so we were just, people who cared about sports were just boring to him. We were boring.
He had no time for it whatsoever.
But he's still the greatest guy ever. I know. We love him so much.
What a care. I mean, he was and is the original Ron Burgundy.
He is. He absolutely is. I think he was a little better dressed, but that's maybe not. But well, from the waist up anyway. Bob classically showed up with his boating shorts on from flip-flops and a nice tie, shirt, and jacket too.
And Nick has my co-host here has no idea what we're talking about here. It's long ago, far away for him, but I'm sorry, we're just reminiscing here, Nick. But for those of you who don't know, Gail Sarens was the first play-by-play woman to do a play-by-play game in the NFL. And now you just see an explosion of this for women. You are a pioneer in this field. What do you think of when you see so many ladies now doing play-by-play?
I am just so proud of them, and I'm so proud I didn't mess it up for them because it was a lot when I did it, and I remember the day I did the game. I thought, oh, I just pray I'm not messing this up for other women, and I knew a few of them, at that point, and now many more that really that was what they wanted to do, and fortunately, all's well that ends well. And now, well, I did
Somebody had to be first.
I did an okay job. I got the downs and the distance pretty good on a regular basis. I'm not sure I added as much, of the other.
I can't imagine the weight that you must have felt in that moment.
Well, I had double weight because I had the game and I was pregnant. Yes. So there you go.
You were working for two that day.
I was working for two. Yeah.
Gail Saren's joining us here, longtime anchor at News Channel 8. So what do you think of the media landscape these days? And I think you've played it well. You were just telling me you don't really pay attention much to it because it will make you freaking crazy.
Well, here's the deal. First of all, let's just go back to the whole idea of journalism and news. Okay, remember the day, and I've said this a million times. I may have already said it today to you or someone else because I feel like I'm talking about it all the time. But, back in the day that we did news, no one should ever know what your politics were.
Exactly.
And if they did, then you were not doing your job correctly because you weren't doing everything you needed to do to get the full picture, not your picture, their picture, someone in between's picture. Now that's all that we do.
It literally.
I don't think so much in local news as national news. Right. Because there's so many national news stations now to do. And that's the other thing. With all of the way news is right now, all we have to do in our world now is pick what we want to already believe in and go hear it because we can turn every different station on and find out exactly what it is you want to hear that day about your world.
And you'll never hear the other side.
And you won't unless you mix it up or you go to, other stations that will combine the stories. But more and more that just doesn't happen in journalism or in the media.
I see it at the local level too, and it's distressing. I'm like, we used to be able to turn on a news program and have a trusted person like yourself and Bob and know that they're telling us the truth. Now we have no idea. We have to go sort through 6 or 7 different sources just to kind of find the truth, and it makes people anxious. It makes people crazy.
It does. I agree. And I hate to say I'm just so grateful that I'm not in that world at this point. Now, having said all of that, I'm a long-time WFLA person, and they have great people on that staff right now, really good people sitting in front of those cameras and telling the stories. So,
there's the remnants from Jennifer Lee and Stacy Scheibel and Keith Cade and more, and a lot of them that were sort of in that mix along the way, watching these people who might have left before them and saying, okay, that's my style or that's not my style, or we all learn. I hope today I learned something. I hope my life never ends without learning something every day. Well, you're playing golf with me. You'll learn a lot today that you didn't want to learn, actually.
I can hardly wait. You have really ramped up how bad this is going to be.
Oh, no, this is going to be fun. No. You'll see things you've never seen before, and you'll hear things you've never heard before.
Oh, wow.
And you've seen it all.
And I feel like I kind of have seen it all, and so this should be really, really interesting. I had no idea I'd be having this.
I think Wade's playing with us as well.
There you go. There goes another voice that will actually have a few fun things.
What are your first remembrances of him? A local Tampa plant guy that goes all the way to the Hall of Fame. I got a chance to go up there when he was inducted. It was one of my favorite memories, being there at Cooperstown and watching him get inducted. Oh, it's amazing.
You don't need to ask anything from me about it because
you remember him as a high schooler, probably.
I do remember who he was. I was at the Catholic school, and we all went to plant games and Hillsborough games, and we kind of did our little rotation of trying to see all the good football games in our part of our town. But I can't say that I saw him a lot, but I can tell you that this was a guy that I think made quite the reputation for himself in his world of sports. I just he was the man in this town, was he not? Yeah. He was the man.
For him to get his 3,000th hit, there's a Ray. It's just the great win. Cool. Yeah, it really is. So
I hate to say that I don't, I want to follow more baseball because I'm just at the end of the day, I'm really a football person.
You like the Rays? Do you watch the Rays?
Yeah, we do watch the games.
Want to see a stadium in Tampa?
I would love to see a stadium.
Think it would be a lot better? Think a lot more people would go?
I think that that's a real possibility. I do. Boy, are you trying to set this up for me, huh?
I mean, seriously, though.
I agree. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to not put it somewhere so central that everybody would be able to come in from the beaches and from, the cities and whatever.
From Orlando area, from the Lakeland area. It's where we're growing.
And that's just a hop on the road and you're there. So, yeah, I just hope all's well that ends well. But I've been so not optimistic over the years.
It's going to happen. I'm telling you, I think we're going to find out before the year's over. I think the plan's going to be in place, and it's going to be in Ybor City. We're going to have baseball here for generations to come. Hopefully, it's not the same owner. I think he's just bad for this area. I don't think he gives a rat's ass about this area. It's all about money to him. And the people that have been successful here are the people who have connected with the community, and he never has. The Glazers, maybe at first were not, but boy, have they stepped up in their time in the last, I think, 10 or 12 years since they bought Man United, went through that. They have stepped up big time for the community. I mean, what can you say about Jeffrey Vinnick and the Lightning? My God. I mean, has there ever been a better sports owner? And he's proven. I mean, it's hockey, and he sold out 270-some games in a row. It's hockey. Nobody grew up playing hockey here. We all grew up playing baseball.
That's exactly right. I mean, I can't even tell you that I knew the rules of the game when it first came around.
And now you're at every game.
And now I'm at every game. It's so fun. It is so fun. But, I love a good baseball game. I mean, I love going to football games. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm still a gigantic sports fan. So
Tom Brady is your quarterback.
And
still
Tom Brady, that was quite the back and forth, wasn't it? Isn't it crazy? Did you?
He was always coming back.
I was to say, you knew all of
Of course.
Yeah,
he wasn't
That's
done.
what I thought. I know.
You need to listen to this show. Don't listen to the rest of that. Just listen to find out what's going on.
Listen to anything. I don't listen to anything.
Tip your grandkids.
Yeah, I listen to my grandkids. But I found myself the other day. I'm driving and I've been on the road for a pretty good little while, and I realized I had never even turned my radio in my car on. So clearly I was so deep in my important thoughts.
Well, we're going to download the FanStream Sports app on your phone. So you just tap that app and you can hear your favorite sportscaster anytime, any right on your phone. You know how to use your phone in Bluetooth.
I do. Actually, I do. But don't ask me to do it right now.
I won't. I'm going to grab it during the round when you're not looking and send out some text to your husband you'll have to deal with when you get home.
Oh, can't wait because he doesn't have enough to deal with anyway. But he's actually home at the house right now, I think, with our dog who just was very, very sick, is doing great. She's fine. So I got to come out and play golf, and hopefully he doesn't have to take care of any difficult situations from the dog or work or life.
Hopefully he does.
Well, Mike,
we love you, Mike.
If it does, then he can take care of it.
All right, last question. I mean, can you believe where Tampa Bay as a region has come since when you started with Channel 8? I mean, it is, I think I saw the other day, it's the third most popular city for people to move to in the United States. It's Water Street. I mean,
I don't doubt it. I mean, I don't doubt any of those numbers they've come up with because I feel the exact same way. And I've lived here my whole life. And I feel like every year, every month, something pops up that makes it a little bit better. And it's a fun place to be right now. It was always fun for me, but this is a whole new level. And for my children and then their children, and fortunately they're all here in the Bay Area for us. It's just we're able to mix and match and go to different places, whether it's out to eat with some or out in some, we love to go to the park down in Hyde Park and watch the grandchildren play. It's just, there's so much to do. It's just awesome.
Almost getting too big. We need to start shutting it off. I think we need to build a wall.
Listen, you're the guy with the live mic every day, not me.
Stop coming here. Enough. No. Listen, Gail, it's always fun to catch up with you. I look forward to playing with you today. It's going to be a blast.
I'm glad you're looking forward to it. You may not feel exactly the same way.
Oh, you're bidding off the red tees. We're scrambling. We're going to be using your drive all day.
I hope you're right.
Can't wait.
I hope you're right.
All right. Thank you, darling. The great Gail Sierens there, News Channel 8 legend. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, who knows who will show up. I might be able to wrangle Wade over here. Or I saw Tino Martinez running around. We'll see what we got when we come back. We're live at the Peter Mulry Foundation Golf Classic at Carrollwood Country Club. Quick break. Back in a moment. Stay with us. March Madness has come to the Gold and Diamond Source. Did you know the Aquamarine is the birthstone of the month, and the Emily collection has some great unique pieces. It's designed to be affordable, unique, stylish gold and diamond jewelry. The Julieve collection is Julie and Steve Weintraub's exclusive, one-of-a-kind, award-winning collection of the world's finest diamonds and rare fine gemstone jewelry. Don't forget, they have 0% financing and the Diamond Savings Account, where your diamond never loses its value. You can upgrade at any time and get 100% of its value towards a new purchase. Do you have any old jewelry, broken jewelry, just lying around? Well, bring it in and get top dollar and get even more value if you use that money to buy something new or just take the cash. Shop local with the folks who support our community in so many charitable endeavors. It's the Gold and Diamond Source. Hey, I'm going to go wrangle up Wade. So give me a couple up the break, right? Always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Italiano Insurance has been serving and working in our community for over 60 years, and it's not just about insuring all the pieces of your life. Italiano is as much a part of Tampa Bay as the Cuban sandwich, Gasparilla, and our Bucks, Lightning, and Rays. They're also active supporters of great charities like the Humane Society, Metropolitan Ministries, and local pediatric cancer centers. Hey, we all need insurance, so do business with a local company with a commitment to our community. Don't call some 1-800 number. Call Italiano and be greeted by one of your neighbors. That's 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com. Named the Small Business of the Year by the Tampa Chamber. 813-877-7799. Cryptocurrency is all the rage today. The market cap for the industry is now over $1 trillion. And you read about people making millions of dollars, right? You want to get in, but have no idea what to do? Or maybe you dabbled a bit and you want to unlock the real money-making opportunities and don't know how to do it. There are over 10,000 tokens and thousands of decentralized finance exchanges to navigate. So what do? You go to DeFiLava.com. The folks at DeFiLava.com are in Tampa Bay, and they work with you directly to set up custom accounts, answer all your questions, and provide market analysis. Decentralized finance, cryptocurrencies are here to stay and will change the financial markets as we know them. Get in the game. Get with the experts at DeFiLava.com and tell them JP sent you, and get their free 2022 crypto market forecast today at DeFiLava.com. Don't get left behind, folks. Make some money at DeFiLava.com. The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the Peter J. Mulry Foundation Golf Classic here, and the hits just keep on coming. Hall of Famer Wade Boggs, following Hall of Famer Gail Sirens, following Clint Hurdle. Yeah, a good group out here today. What's up, Wade? How are you?
Very good, JP. Very good. It's good to play golf again. The pandemic sort of put a halt on my. I haven't played in over 2 years. So
really,
I think I brought 24 balls, so hopefully that'll work.
Don't worry, it's a scramble. We'll be hitting Gail's ball all day long anyway. She's playing for the Red Tees. We'll be hitting that drive all day. Absolutely. So what are you doing now? You're telling me just being a granddad, huh?
Well, I was at Wharton for 21 years and 21 wonderful years. And Scott Hoffman just retired, and we've got a sort of a taxi service going on between Pasco with my son's kids So it worked out to be a blessing in disguise. That every afternoon we got to go to 2 different schools and pick up kids. But yeah, it's I wish the gas prices would come down.
Oh my God, it's crazy. So you got to be still watching baseball and what's going on in the game today. And now there's more changes coming to the game. Just talked to Clint Hurdle, and he's one of those guys that says we need to make it more exciting. Didn't mind the 7-inning doubleheaders. Get the game moving again. Get some people who could actually hit for an average would be nice too. What do you think?
Well, the game has changed, and I don't think it's changed for the better. That's when you have more strikeouts in a month than hits, you've got a problem. And with all the sabermetrics and everything that they want to incorporate, they thought that would bring in more younger viewing audience. And on the contrary, it made it more difficult because a 7-8-year-old doesn't understand what a WAR is. And in my opinion, when somebody has a higher WAR than the guy sitting on the bench, he should, because he's the starting player. So if a guy has a higher WAR sitting on the bench, the manager's not doing a good job because the guy that should be playing isn't. But you can skew numbers any way you want to, and now they're using them for everything under the sun. But let's get back. And I totally dislike this ghost runner thing and extra innings. I mean, I played in the longest game ever, 33 innings. So that'll never be.
Is that a good thing?
That'll never be broke with the ghost runner. But you're rewarding guys for not being able to situational hit. I mean,
if they can't do it, we'll be here all day. We got to start with just getting people to situational hit.
Well, that's the misnomer. Then they need to work a little bit harder at their craft, and they want to ban the shift. And why? If you're idiotic enough to hit the ball into the shift, then you deserve to be out. In my opinion, you deserve to be out.
Why can guys not beat the shift? Are they just not trying? Is it a work ethic thing? Are they trying?
Maybe they're just too proud. I mean, you get brainwashed with this exit velocity stuff and how far a guy hits a ball and various things like this. And then a guy hits a rocket into shallow right field, but the second baseman's standing there. And he throws up his hands, throws his helmet, and, well, dude, the whole left side of the field's open. You just hit a line drive to left center, and you got a triple.
People would say, well, that wasn't hard for you, Wade, but for me, is it that hard? I mean, it's not easy. I know these guys are throwing 102 miles an hour, but you tell me.
Well, I don't think I think there's a whole different mindset that hitting coaches have, and they're preached with exit velocity, they're preached with launch angle and various things like that try to create elevation and distance, which is the complete opposite because you have to be short too long through in order to create distance and elevation. So the thing about trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark on every swing, and you got a guy on third with nobody out, and you take 3 swings and strike out and walk back to the dugout, and you can't make contact. I mean, these are problems that should be addressed. And I'm not saying for Aaron Judge to walk up and lay down a bunt every time he walks up to the plate, but when you got a situation that a guy can let the ball get deep and hit the ball the other way. I mean, guys are hitting 24 home runs and striking out 220 times. And the ratio to balance of what you're doing, they're not complementing each other.
If somebody told you, hey, listen, Wade, I want you to hit 40 home runs this year, and I don't care how many times you strike out, could you do it?
I'd go find another occupation. I would strike out 40, 50 times a year. And those are the most miserable times. Those are the most miserable times that I ever have. I mean, in my opinion, I could hit 4 rockets to left field, or 2 rockets to left field, 2 rockets to center field, and I'm 0 for 4. If a guy struck me out in the game, that was my worst at bat because I have to walk back to the dugout because the pitcher won. And the pitcher won, in my opinion, that he won. And they've completely changed the dynamics of pitching because all they do is throw up in the zone anymore, and guys can't catch up to it. And if you go back to old school philosophy to where you have table setters and then you have your big guns coming up and then you have guys in the bottom of the order about moving things. Thank God they got the DH now in the National League. That's in my opinion, it should have been done a long time ago. And that helps the game. That gives 15 other players jobs and older players that are going to stay in the game that can't play defensively naturally. But I think that's a positive. But, when you're sitting there 7-inning doubleheaders and ghost runners and you can't break up a double play, you can't run into the catcher. And I'm going, is this a league of their own?
Yeah. Some of this, I'll be honest with you, some of this new stuff I like because it speeds up the game. And I understand where you're coming from, but I don't think these younger players are trained enough to get on base. And it took forever to finish games. And I don't know if it's the chicken or the egg. Do you start, and I think a lot of it has to do with the way they run the clubs. These clubs are not looking for guys that hit for average. They're just looking for power and speed and guys that can throw 100 miles an hour. So we're not developing the Wade Boggs, the David Ecksteins of the world.
Well, that's the thing that you got leadoff guys that are hitting 30 home runs, and
their on base percentage is also 270.
Exactly. Yeah, they hit 270 and their on base percentage is 275. But walks are completely out. On base percentage, and somebody was quoted saying that average doesn't matter anymore. But the thing about it is, in order to have on-base percentage and an average, somebody has to be on base in order to score runs. And the last time I checked is the ones that scored the most runs won the game. So there's a misnomer there that if you rely on your big guns to hit home runs every game, you're going to get beat. You're going to get beat. And the teams that in the last 4 to 5 years, the teams that have won the World Series have drastically cut down their strikeouts and put the ball in play and move it around. And it's very glaring that the teams that do strike out, that have a big inning or something started and it ends with 2 strikeouts. And it's very glaring. And the Yankees just did it. They got rid of 2 players that had a high strikeout percentage and brought in 2 guys that so the Yankees are trying to do it. And believe me, when the biggest rally killer is a strikeout. And these guys, they wear it on their sleeve. I mean, my gosh, they're proud. They're proud. And one of my funniest quotes I've ever heard is when Jose Canseco said, "People pay to come see me swing hard and miss 3 times than ever to watch Wade Boggs hit." And I went, all right. I mean, Jose's a good friend of mine. I love Jose to death. And when he said that, naturally the media comes to me and goes, "What do you think about this?" And I said, "Hey, whatever floats his boat."
That's the last time I checked. You were in the Hall of Fame. He's not.
No,
just check. Just trying to make that point. How about the Rays? What do you think of this team this year? They weren't able to get Freddie Freeman, which I never thought they were seriously in the race for that anyway. They haven't been able to make any big moves, but they still got a core of a team that won 100 games last year. I don't know if they're ever going to get over the hump, though, if they continue to the $70 million payroll, not pick up options on guys like Charlie Morton. But they'll always be a good team, but I don't know if they're going to ever win a World Series this way. What do you?
Well, the thing about it is when you're 1 or 2 pieces of the puzzle away from winning a World Series, and you won't pull the trigger and go out and get these players that actually do that. I had the great fortune of playing in New York with George Steinbrenner, and he wasn't afraid to do that. If we were 1 or 2 people away, then he made it happen. I remember in the late 80s when we were 1 or 2 players away after 86 with the Red Sox, and they wouldn't pull the trigger. And players know that. I've always said that Tampa Bay gets the most out of their players for minimal pay. And the minute you become famous, it's sort of like the University of Tampa Bay. You spend 4 wonderful years here, and then you graduate, and then you go on to another team. But they have wonderful young talent. They just locked up Wander Franco, and he falls into that Tatis, Guerrero, and all of that mold, that the rising young superstars. And the thing about it is that when you take the carrot away, do they continue to still play at a higher level? And these are the things that you watch and continue to follow throughout that process. If you lock down a guy for 8 or 10 years, is he going to be that same player in year 5 or 6, or is he just going through the motions? But I wouldn't think that he would do that. It's very difficult to sit there and probably Kiermaier is the last of the Mohicans. He's been there the longest and survived it. Spring training's not over yet, though. It's not over. It's not over yet. I mean, they could bundle up a good 4-person minor league deal for him and take 4 prospects and that's another thing that you can have the greatest minor league organization in the world. Minor league organizations don't win World Series, and you got all the talent in the world. That's wonderful. That's a great pat on the back to say we have the greatest minor league organization in Major League Baseball. But does that translate into wins in the big league?
Not if you're not willing to trade those prospects to make the big deal. You got to because they don't trade the prospects because that's how they make money. That's how they make money. So they're not going to trade the goose guy again. And that's with this owner. Unfortunately, that's the way it's going to be. But I sense that there may be a change in ownership coming soon, and me too. And it's nothing personal against Stu, but the way he runs his team, he does. I've said it a gazillion times on this show. He doesn't give a shit about the Tampa Bay area, the people here. He's holding up development in 2 different cities, and this stadium should have been done 5 years ago. We should be moving into it this year.
I agree 100%. The Montreal, the split season thing was the most ridiculous idea I've ever heard. And then I found out that Major League Baseball was on board with it. It blew me away that how you could sit there and actually 81 games in one city or actually 40 and 41 and 40 in the other, and absolutely sit there and go, that is not going to work. And the logistics alone of, okay, where do we do the playoffs? Do we do them in Tampa? Will you give them 1 game and Montreal gets 1 game, or let alone the taxes for these players?
The players were never going to go along with it.
Well, I would hope that the Players Association would shut that down in a heartbeat. That would have been something. But I've been a firm believer all along that if you put a retractable dome in Tampa, and if you put a retractable dome in Tampa down in Ybor on the water, you get a homer into the water with the kayaks out there and the retractable roof when it starts raining, and you close it up and everything like this, it'll be an event. Just like the Tampa Bay Lightning. And I was on board from day one, season tickets for the Lightning, and they said hockey will never work in Tampa. And I hope all those people are eating crow, because we are title town. Thank God to Tom Brady coming here. And we are title town. And we got to get the Rays on board to where, okay, you're making the playoffs and you're making this, and you got to win a World Series. Come on, put a World Series
on the verge. Hey, I think they would have done it last year if they'd have kept Morton and Snell, and they'd have had that rotation. They would have done it.
Exactly. You bolster that pitching staff, and you got to have guys that are going to sit there and post, and guys with experience. That's the great part about having pitchers that have gone through the playoffs and everything. Now you turn over and you got 5 guys that have never had playoff experience on your starting roster, and you get to the playoffs, and here you go again.
We knew last year when they got they were going to go with 3 rookies, 3 starters. That was not going to work.
I mean, there's something to say about experience. Yeah.
Well, Wade, last question for you. If we were to get local ownership here, and I would love to see just a group of local baseball people like yourself, maybe not from a monetary standpoint, but leading the way for new local ownership, people that care about this community. We'll find some guys with the money, but that's what I think it needs. A lot of this baseball is such a rich fabric of Tampa Bay. So many players coming up from this area. We all grew up playing it. You were coaching it for 21 years. That's what we need. We need local people running this baseball team.
Well, JP, I'm on board. I'm the locomotive that's leading the pack. Al Lopez, God rest his soul, he's not around anymore. He was our founding father here in Tampa, our first Hall of Famer, and I was just with Lou Piniella the other night. We got to get Lou into the Hall of Fame. Missed it by one vote. Such great talent that have come out of this area, and it's just Tampa Bay, the Tampa region, Ybor City, the Tampa region needs baseball in Tampa. And it's nothing to take away from St. Pete. I played 2 years there. St. Pete, great community, and it's time for a change. It's time for a change, and it's time to move in the right direction.
Wade, thanks so much for your time, partner. Always good to see you. Look forward to. I think we're playing together today. We may be. Now that'll be fun. That'll be fun. All right, good stuff there. Yeah, we need. I mean, let's just put together a local group. You know, we'll get Wade, Lou Piniella. I mean, half of them are all here today, and some of the greatest minds in baseball. Clint Hurdle's living down in Anna Maria now. Tino Martinez is here. I mean, we could go on and on of the great baseball people here in the Tampa Bay area, and that's who we need to be leading this charge. There's a lot of people with money too. Hey, Mr. DeBartolo will get you involved. Mr. Vinnick obviously has been a part owner of the Red Sox. And we have the greatest region in the world. It's ever growing. We have one of the few places in a downtown area where you could still have property to build a stadium. And as Mayor Castor said the other day, it's time to get it done. And it's time for the Rays to stop talking about St. Petersburg and every place else. And again, if it wasn't for one man holding up two large communities from redeveloping their downtown, this would have been well underway. There'd be thousands and thousands of more jobs. There'd be more affordable housing in St. Petersburg. There would be more growth in Ybor City. All of this stuff, all of this great stuff that's ready to happen now, and timing is everything. We wait another 2 years, there won't be any property in downtown Tampa for a baseball stadium because development is moving on. And hopefully Major League Baseball understands this and will make a move to get the one impediment out of the way to all of this tremendous development that could be going on that would be great for two communities and would pull these communities together and stop the divisiveness. And that's one dude. And, hopefully with all this positive energy, we can get it going here locally.
Yeah, I was going to say, we just went to church there with Wade Boggs. I thought we just did between him and Clint Hurdle, the baseball mind. We just gave you like 40 minutes combined right there of great baseball minds talking about the game and what's wrong with it, what is good about it. I thoroughly enjoyed. I learned so much from that. Just hearing these guys talk about what's lacking in the game today, and you hear it from somebody who played the game, is in the Hall of Fame. He's got the credentials to speak on it. It's not some guy who's never played the game before. It's on TV telling you that this is great for baseball, right? That's somebody who played the game. I enjoyed hearing it.
You can look at all the numbers you want. As far as sabermetrics go, but you go back into the greatest offensive teams of all time, the Big Red Machine. You go back to that. Pete Rose, had an on-base percentage of over 400. Joe Morgan was in the two-hole. Joe Morgan could do anything. He could hit for power. He could hit for average. He could lay down a bunt. Tony Perez, one of the greatest RBI guys of all time. Contact. George Foster, Johnny Bench. I mean, these guys knew how to play the game, and those were the greatest offenses of all time. Dave Concepcion, it's the bottom of the order. We get on base, set the table for the guys coming up. And it's like Wade says, you construct a lineup. It's not just, it's like the other day or last year we were talking about this. So, we got to have, Brandon Lau leading off. He's hit 39 home runs. That's not your leadoff guy. That's not your leadoff guy.
No. And the best example I could use, it's great for the Rays, but the Yankees are the reason why the Yankees can't win a World Series in the modern day right now is because they are living in this world where they need to have 30 home runs at every spot of their lineup. They just have to have it. They have to have it. That's why they just traded out Gio Urshela for Josh Donaldson. And that's why they acquired Joey Gallo, who when they acquired him, I got into argument with people that were telling me, like what Wade said, batting average doesn't matter. If you strike out or you hit a ground ball, it's the same thing. No, it's not. No, it's not. You were always taught to put the ball in play, right?
Well, half the time a ground ball moves a runner over.
Exactly.
It's
So
not a strikeout doesn't do anything.
I was a strikeout better than that. And like Wade said, when he struck out, I just went back and looked at his numbers when he said that. The most times Wade Boggs struck out in a season was 68. 68 times. Come on. I mean, Tony Gwynn had seasons where he struck out only like 20 times.
Yeah.
I only played Little League, but I hated when I struck out. Kids would cry in the dugout when they struck out. I mean, like he said, these guys wear it now and are just like, whatever. I don't like it.
Yeah, it's not, and it's boring baseball. It's boring baseball. There's nobody on base. There's nobody fielding the ball. It's just boring baseball, and it's going to kill the game. It's going to kill the game if it hasn't already. But I know sometimes we sound like a bunch of old people, but look, when I watch Tony Gwynn, fight off an 0-2 pitch and serve it to left field. To me, that's as exciting as watching a guy hit a home run. I'm like, that's a great. You go, oh, it's a great piece of hitting right there, and it is.
I love a nice drawn out at bat where it's a game. It's a game. It is a game. It's mental. It's all of that where the pitcher is just trying to break you and guys are fouling off when they have like 15, 20 pitch at bats. I love that. And fans get into it. There's always a buzz of like, oh, what's going to happen on this pitch? It is exciting.
Plus, you're getting the pitch count of the pitcher up. You're tiring him out for the next guy. There's so many nuances of it. And just, throwing it 100 miles an hour and swinging through it with a 45-degree launch angle. I mean, that to me is just, I'm like, it's
and sometimes I enjoy that, but I think there's more. You need more variety in the game. I mean, we talked about Ben Joyce last week on Tennessee throwing 104. Yeah, it's exciting, but but you know what? Sometimes I think you probably enjoyed watching Greg Maddux throw, right? Where he was in at like 92, maybe tops, but the control was there. I enjoy seeing that too. I think there needs to be more variety with it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We got all the answers here today. That's the best part about it. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, I want to mention our sponsors. Of course, we are always brought to by the law offices of Christopher Palermo. You can find him at palermopa.com. And our second hour always brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Christopher Lugo and his team will hook you up if you're looking for a new general practitioner, new primary care doctor. A lot of these places aren't taking new patients. They are. Go to BAMMC.com and find out what it's all about, personalized medicine. All right, quick break. We'll be back with more. The United States men's national team with a big win last night. We'll talk a little bit about that. Stay with us. The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care, and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Have you purchased a home in the last 10 years and the stucco was starting to come loose from the upstairs portion? Well, that can cause some serious damage that you can't see until it's too late. Is it becoming an eyesore? Have you contacted the builder and just can't get any relief? That's very common here in Florida. So call the law offices of Christopher Palermo. They can help you. Call 813-221-5636. That's 813-221-5636. He's recovered millions for his clients. The law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the Peter J. Mulry Foundation Golf Classic here. The hits just keep on coming as we now have the head coach of the USF softball team and Team USA, Ken Eriksen, joining us here. Ken, how are you?
I'm old, you know.
We're trying not to think about that. We're all.
Yeah, right. But Monday mornings, you're old for some reason. I don't know what happens on the weekends.
I played two days in a row of golf, which is why I can't not play in this beautiful weather, right? Because it's going to be hot as hell here soon. But I'm like now a third day, and I'm feeling old today, bro.
I understand that. It's amazing. That's why you're sitting down. Yeah.
What I do best, sitting and talking. That's about it. So you have a pitcher by the name of Georgina Corrick who is just lighting it up. Perfect game this year. Just broke the strikeout record. Tell me about Georgina.
She is probably one of the top pitchers in the world, you know, and not just in college, but she's an artist on the mound. She's got velocity, but she's a thinker and a painter of a great portrait every single game. And it's so fun to watch her. I'm really, really smart when she's on the mound. I can tell you that right now. So if we can keep the other guys at zero as long as she has, we got a pretty good shot. And so every day she goes out there, we have a good shot to beat anybody in the country.
So how do you manage that? I mean, I know these young ladies can go out and pitch a lot of innings, but you still have to give them some rest, right?
Yeah, rest and recovery is just as important, you know. And we've had such a great out of conference schedule, and we've had to throw her a little bit more often just to get the RPI and the ratings up and your power numbers up out of conference going into conference, because our conference is pretty strong with Central Florida, Wichita State, Tulsa, Houston, and so we're going to beat each other up over the course of the conference season, but we've postured ourselves pretty good going into that area, and that's because of Georgina.
And tell me a little bit about some of the other players on your team. And I know you've got a lot of local players as well here. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I know the local flavor is great, and you've seen the crowds. I mean, we're averaging around 1,500 people a game right now, and midweek too. So softball is a hot commodity in Tampa Bay, and you know it's not just the male sports, but you also have a female contingency that's very interested in women's athletics, and women's athletics is exploding, obviously, as you're watching the women's basketball tournament right now. But softball is a real popular game because it's fast, it's speedy, and we're fortunate enough to have players from Steinbrenner High School, Chamberlain High School. You know, we have somebody coming in from Robinson next year, and so you have a lot of local flavor, Newsom, and some of these programs are really, really good programs, and a lot of these young women decide to go to an academic school, you know, that's in their backyard. And so what better way to continue to promote their hometown than go to South Florida and play? And they're representing the community very, very well right now.
We have so many good high school programs here that are constantly competing for state titles, and even I guess our travel teams as well. There's a great foundation of softball talent.
Well, there is, and you've had a lot of ex-baseball players, and you've had a lot of ex-women's fast-pitch softball players that decided to stay in Tampa Bay and pass on the messages of sport, you know, in athletics, and not just in softball, but obviously in all the other sports too. And can't think of another better community, right, to live and go to school and continue to be involved in the community in Tampa Bay. So we're all taking advantage of that right now.
It just recently had the tournament over in Clearwater too. That was I think that's the first time I've seen it on ESPN, the mothership, and it got a lot of exposure.
When you've got 12 to 16 games a day on national television on all the ESPNUs and you know, ESPN Plus and ESPN, and it says a lot. But to have it here, you know, and then think about the history of fast pitch softball with the Clearwater Bombers, right? I mean, and so an 11-time national champion, guys like Herb Dudley, and then women that came down here through like Joan Joyce, you know, for asbestos. So a lot of history goes back a long, long way, and you're trying to pass on the context of fast pitch softball. just like, hey, look, spring training, Philadelphia Phillies, how long they've been here, right? And then the Yankees were here long time ago, went away, then came back. But this is a bat and ball area, especially this time of year.
Yeah, I was just talking about that with Wade, and we're not going to lose our baseball team here. The Rays are not going anywhere. Major League Baseball, I know it, but we have an owner of this team that is just not, in my mind, doesn't have the best interest of this community, and so is out to make a buck. I hope we can get some local ownership here, and people like yourself and Wade and Lou Piniella, and so we have so many great baseball people here. I would love to see them leading the charge to keep the team here in some type of local ownership, and obviously a stadium in Tampa.
Yeah, when you have street level bureaucrats that have played the game and know the nuances of the game and understand organization and organizational theory in baseball and even in fast pitch softball, you have a better chance to get people excited. You have a better chance to have loyalties from the top of organization to the bottom of organization, and community based is the way to go. I mean, just take a look at the Green Bay Packers. I mean, you have that opportunity here, and does it take time? Sure, it does. We get it. But if you do it the right way, people want to be involved.
All right, I'm going to ask you a question here. You don't have to answer it. You know where I'm going with this. Women's sports is somewhat under assault because of the transgender situation. And I personally am not a person that's mad at Leah Thomas as much as I am mad at the NCAA. I don't think they've handled this well. We had Brooke Bennett on her show the other day talking about it's not fair for women's sports. You don't have to answer it. I know it has to be very political, but I'll give you an opportunity if you would like to say something about it.
We're getting better. The cognizant aspect of competitiveness, fairness, do the right thing. When Title IX came into play, it was forcing people just to do the right thing. And so Title IX, in essence, sometimes is overstepped a little bit. But look, if people just do the right thing, we don't have to worry about stuff, and I think we're finally becoming conscientious of that. Whatever political context you want to have things in, and anytime you have leadership, you have to abide by the decision making, what goes on. But if you have a collaborative and you have people that listen, I think we have a better opportunity.
I think I understand what you're saying there. All right, so what's up with your team going into the postseason? What do you think your chances are? It's a very, got some very competitive teams in this state that you may have to play a regional with. Tell me how you see it playing out.
Well, when you're dealing with 18 to 22-year-olds, you don't know what's going to show up the next day. And, people don't realize that student athletes, number one, they're trying to fit in socially when they get to college. And number two, they're trying to fit in with their teams. And then they got to play, and then they can get good. And, so it's a whole process that goes on. But the one thing I've learned in all years of college athletics, especially dealing with professional ball, and the Olympic team and this and that, 18 to 22-year-olds, you're hoping that they show up, successful like they were the day before, but it's work, to continue to try to keep that consistency. And nowadays, with these things going on, the attention spans are, sometimes you feel like it's Groundhog Day. It's like, didn't we just go over that, but we have to go over it again and so forth. But I have to kind of tone myself down in respect of just having to deal with the Olympic team over the last 15, 20 years. You come back and you have to realize that these are 18, 20-year-olds, not 32 to 35-year-olds. So it's a challenge. It's a challenge, no question.
How do you handle that? Like, what rules do you have for phones? And are they allowed to practice, or how do you do it?
They stay in the locker room, and I don't have personally. I don't have social media and it's interesting because sports information. Everybody's like, well, you got to have Twitter and this and that. Look, the less people know about me, the easier it is for me to do my job. Right, number one. Plus, it's all noise. It really doesn't matter to me. And when people know me, they know that I don't really give a crap what's out in the social media world. And I'm trying to get my young people to understand that nobody cares. Nobody cares. The only thing they care about is if you win, right? And so be successful in what you try to do, but try to keep this thing off the side as much.
It's good. It's good advice. And about your Olympic experience this year, it had to be, or last year, bizarre, no fans, no. I think what was it like?
It was tedious, to tell you the truth, because of COVID. Every single day. We tested 38 straight days, prior to the competitions. And then during the competitions, you're testing also. And so every day at 1 o'clock, you didn't know if you were playing or not. And then if you think about it, being in Tokyo, if one person came down with COVID, the entire tournament was pretty much wiped out because of contact tracing, not just with your team, but with Australia and Japan and Canada and Italy. So it was really, really tedious and stressful. and not so much for me as it was for the athletes. You know what I mean? So because that was their dream to be there, and the differences between 2004 the Olympics in Athens and this one, there was some similarities too. Because if you remember, that was the first Olympics after 9/11, right? So there was a lot of security and this and that. This was even more of a lockdown because you couldn't go anywhere. You know, the Japanese were not allowing you to go anywhere. We were in a hotel up in Fukushima for the first 2 games, and we weren't allowed outside. We couldn't go anywhere. And then we got back down to Tokyo for the last part of it, and there was regimentation. And so there really wasn't the aspect of being able to go out and mingle with other athletes or mingle with the people and see the towns and this and that. Really no time to blow off any steam. So what Team Japan did and what Team USA did to get to the finals was incredible in itself. You know, and I'm glad we got to play the last game because we weren't going to. The hurricane had come in, right? So they told us the day before the gold medal game, this could be the gold medal game. And so we win that game in a walk-off, and we're sitting in a hotel in the clubhouse as the leader, just waiting for the weather. And next day it turned out we were able to play, which was good. And then that was a really, really good game. You know, it was a really good game. So glad we got to play the gold medal game. But it was tedious to say the least.
Wasn't the Olympic experience the girls would have loved to have.
It wasn't. And I hope that some of the younger players that continue on have that opportunity in 28 when softball gets back into it, hopefully in LA. But all in all, it was an experience, you know, and now they get to pass that on.
Georgina have a shot to be in the Olympic team?
You know, she almost had Great Britain in the 20 Olympics by herself. And now as she matures and she learns more as you stay in the game longer, you know, that's only 6 years away. She's right in prime age of 28, 29 years old. So she's got a good shot. And I know Team USA is trying to get her, you know, but she's a real loyal person.
Ken, thanks so much. Always good to see you, my friend. Great to see you. Continued success. And I got to get out to a game. When's your next game this week?
You know, I don't know. What's today?
Yeah, Monday, I think. Yeah.
I got lunch today.
You got lunch?
You know, you're getting a little gray. I know it's a little gray.
Yeah. I should be getting wiser, but that's for some reason it doesn't work that way for me. I don't know why. I get dumber. All right, Ken. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Great Ken Eriksen, USF softball. Yeah, I'm going to get out to a game. Nick, we got to go to a game. You and I need to go to a game. Go watch some softball and some baseball out at USF. Two great.
This past weekend would have been good. I was so busy. They were playing UCF in a 3-game
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Go Knights.
Well,
Chargers. I didn't want to mention to him that the Knights kind of swept him a little bit, but
well, I think, you know, give Georgina a little break, you know, and they'll be back. All right, what time is it? 11:50. We should probably take a. Do we need to take another break?
Yeah, we'll take one final break and then come back and hit our final.
Quick break. We will get the United States men's national team stuff in. So quick break. We'll be back to the Peter J. Mulry Foundation Golf Classic right after this. The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care, and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Have you purchased a home in the last 10 years and the stucco is starting to come loose from the upstairs portion? Well, that can cause some serious damage that you can't see until it's too late. Is it becoming an eyesore? Have you contacted the builder and just can't get any relief? That's very common here in Florida. So call the law offices of Christopher Palermo. They can help you. Call 813-221-5636. That's 813-221-5636. He's recovered millions for his clients. The law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back as we're finishing up here at the Peter J. Mulry Foundation annual golf tournament at Carrollwood. So great to have Wade Boggs on today, Ken Eriksen, Clint Hurdle stopped by, the great Gail Sirens. Fun to catch up with everybody out here. I love these local events, man, and you just see all your old friends, and you just so many great people that live in this area. So I'm so blessed to have had a career here and got to know all these folks, and it's always great to catch up with them. We get to play a little golf in this beautiful weather out there. All right, the United States men's national team last night just put it on Panama in a very chippy game as well. Christian Pulisic with a hat trick last night, his first as a member of the United States men's national team. And I think now they got one more game, if I'm not mistaken, Nick. If they don't lose 6-0, they're going to qualify for Qatar in the World Cup. So they're basically
up. They can't screw it up. No way.
They can't screw this up. No way. So, but let's hear a couple of those goals from last night.
Yeah, we'll start with first the penalty kick to put the USA 1-0 and off and running.
Yeah.
Luis Mejia has one penalty save in his career for Panama. It was in 2011. Only a spot at the World Cup at stake right now. Pulisic scores.
That was a thunderous boot. He picked a spot and went after it on both of his PKs. He just ripped them. Yeah. I love it when guys that kind of like soft walk up to it and try to see where the goalie's going. Just pick a spot and rip it.
You try to pass it in is where you mess up.
Yeah, just pick a spot and rip it, and he did. Yeah. And his third goal. Do we have the one where he nutmegged him?
Yeah, I'm about to say he had the second penalty, but up third goal for the hat trick was beautiful stuff.
He's been incredible. At one point, it looked like maybe he was out. He wasn't called into a camp.
Yeah, that's a great one. Gets the return from Anthony Robinson. Robinson will hook that cross in. Pulisic! Oh, lovely hat trick! What a night!
That was a phenomenal goal. And the way they played last night with purpose and energy, they didn't back down. I don't know how they're going to do in the World Cup, but
and a great crowd in Orlando last night, by the way. Orlando City, they were loud.
Yeah, I was glad they played it in Orlando City. I thought it was going to be a Camping World, but it was in Orlando City. That place was packed. It was a tremendous atmosphere. So it'll be, I think, a lot of fun to be able to watch them play in the World Cup. Also last night, Kyrie Irving got to play at a home game. Finally, the madness is over in New York. And how bizarre that they just lifted the vaccine mandate for athletes and performers. I mean, who cares about healthcare workers and who cares about those people? Ridiculous. But I thought Kyrie was, he did not back down in his post-game comments. Did not have a great night on the floor. Did not have a good shooting night, but his post-game comments were spot on. Let's listen.
The point of this season for me was never to just take a stand. It was really to make sure that I'm standing on what I believe in freedom. Freedom. I don't think that's a word that gets defined enough in our society about the freedom to make choices.
I know Kyrie has been
into nuances of our society that politicians control or government controls, or things people that are empowered, powers may be, right, that control. I'm standing for freedom. So that's in all facets of my life. There's nobody that's enslaving me. There's nobody telling me what I'm going to do with my life. And that's just the way I am. And if I get earnest, in terms of my image, people try to slander my name continuously because, those aren't things that I forget. I haven't forgotten anything that anybody said. I don't read everything, but I definitely read some things that put my family's name in a certain position that I believe are unfair. I've been discriminated against. People have said things that have been biased, gone against their own morals. And where we live in today, I have such a strong moral code of just being honest, being truthful, following God's guidance, and just living with the results. But in terms of that, that's a selfless. I'm a servant, so I'm comfortable being in that position.
That was, I thought, a very poignant post-game comments by Kyrie Irving, and I know he has been trashed by so many in the media. And I think history is going to serve him well, just for those comments right there. This is not about being a good teammate. This is not about, even the vaccine or the non-vaccine. It's about being forced to take something that you don't need. And if you do your research, you'll find out that none of these athletes and their health need to take this vaccine, and in some ways could be very detrimental. So I think he showed a lot of courage, and I think in the end, history is going to look back favorably on him. All right, well, we're coming to a close here. Great job, Nick. Appreciate your work there at the home studio. Thanks to Wade Boggs for joining us. Also, we chatted with Clint Hurdle, Gail Sirens, Ken Eriksen. You can check out all of those interviews on our website and to fanstreamsports.com. And, of course, always check out the YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. You can watch the show anytime. So we'll catch you tomorrow. Have a great day. We'll be back in studio tomorrow.